The momentum is building, the stakes are rising, and the championship battle is beginning to simmer. Tonight, we cross the globe to the legendary Phillip Island Grand Prix circuit for round 3 of the Canadian F1200 Esports Championship. We've hit the midway point of this intense 4-round sprint, and the pressure to perform has never been higher. Phillip Island is a masterpiece of speed, a circuit that flows along the edge of the ocean and demands absolute bravery. With its high-speed sweepers and massive drafting straights, it is a true test of slipstreaming strategy and nerves of steel. In the pro class, the target is firmly on the back of Hawkin, who leads the charge and looks to extend his dominance. Meanwhile, in the AM class, Boyd holds the top spot, proving that consistency and clean racing are the keys to victory. But with 3 races tonight, everything can change in a heartbeat. The rewards waiting at the finish line remain the ultimate motivation. The Pro and Am champions will both earn a real-life test in the Cartini Racing Formula Vee, a transition from the digital world to the physical track. And don't forget the season-long prize draw. Every driver who finishes on the lead lap tonight earns another ballot. Whether you're fighting for the podium or battling in the mid-pack, staying clean and staying consistent is your ticket to a third real-world driving experience. One leader looking to pull away, another looking to hold the line, and an entire grid hungry for their shot at the big time. 12 races in total, we are halfway through the journey. This is the Canadian F1200 Esports Championship presented by BiS, with special thanks to Cartini Racing, live from the iconic Phillip Island. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, good morning, good afternoon, or indeed good evening, and welcome to Pit Road Productions. My name is Daniel Zippy Salmon, and joining us in the production booth today, the one and only Mr. Reese Gardner.
Hello. Round 3 of this championship, Zippy. It's going to be fantastic. I've been hyped for this one since the start of the season, not least because it's technically my home race on the schedule. I'm a 3-hour flight away from this circuit, but it's still very close to home for me. Let's take a look at the track we are racing at today. Phillip Island, a high-speed 4.4 kilometer roller coaster that is as beautiful as it is brutal. The lap starts with the terrifyingly fast Doohan corner. It's a leap of faith where you carry immense speed towards the southern loop at turn 2. Precision here is vital. Go wide and you lose the rhythm for the entire opening sector. Then comes the heavy braking zone into turn 4, the Jack Miller hairpin. This is the prime overtaking opportunity on the circuit, but it requires perfect timing to avoid a multi-car tangle in the F1200s. The real heart stopper is the run through Siberia at turn 6 and up towards Lukey Heights at turn 9. A blind uphill crest that rewards the brave and punishes the impatient. Get it right and you launch onto the final sweepers. Get it wrong and the grass comes at you fast. Finally, the long curved run through turn 12 and onto the Gardner Straight. This is where the slipstream becomes a weapon. Expect photo finishes and 3 wide battles as the draft pulls the field toward the line. At Phillip Island, the draft is your best friend and your worst enemy, Zippy. It's not the only track we're going to this season, though. Let's have a look at where we've been and where we're going for the final round.
Indeed, that is very well said, Reese. We started off at Lime Rock Park, absolutely incredible action before heading to Summit Point. Absolutely phenomenal race we had there last night, ladies and gentlemen. I suggest you go back and watch it, WDCR. I'm going to plug it, ladies and gentlemen. This week we're going to be here at Phillip Island before heading to the BiS home track of Motorsport. But Reese, why don't you tell us a bit about the event format for this evening?
We got 3 races on the cards here today. Drivers have completed their open qualifying. It's going to be 2 races of 15 minutes, then a 5-minute warm-up, and then race 3. The top 10 for that grid will be inverted from the finishing order of race 2. That is also for 15 minutes, so about 8 laps per race here at Phillip Island. It's going to be very short, of course, but it's going to provide some fantastic racing, Zippy. What are the points looking like?
Indeed, the points, Reese. Let's have a quick peek.
Yes, the more ballots you have, the more of a chance you have to get that extra prize draw that is on offer. Well, here's the grid then for race 1. Clay Morris has put it on pole position, the only driver to get into the 1-minute 56s. Brandon Hawken, championship leader, starting alongside him, and Braden Otto in third. The AM-class pole position goes to Mark Boyd, with Rob Wright rounding out the top 5 and Jackson Morley joining him on the 3rd row. Matt Clark and Sean Helly are 7th and 8th, with Nicholas Colander and Keith Wilfred rounding out your top 10. Alyssa McKenzie, good qualifying performance in 11th, with Ryan Knight alongside her, with Lane Anderson starting 13th. Stephen Sutherland rounding out row number 7. Eugene Cartini himself starting in 15th place, provider of the Cartini Racing Formula Vee that drivers will be testing at the end of the season. Ella Martin and Gerald Nemhard rounding out our field. Nemhard, the only driver not to set a qualifying time. They're already out on the formation lap, Zippy. This is the run out of turn 2, heading towards the biggest overtaking opportunity around this place. Used to be called the Honda hairpin, but recently renamed after Australian MotoGP star Jack Miller. It's a very tight hairpin, but in some ways it's a little faster than it looks. We're going to be seeing some great passing here.
Well, if ever there's going to be somebody who's going to know this track, ladies and gentlemen, Reese Gardner, certainly his home track indeed. Myself, been here a couple of times in the iRacing service. I've got to say, it makes for some absolutely phenomenal racing. Certainly we enjoyed the Formula 1600s here as well, here with BiS, ladies and gentlemen. But indeed, we are about to get ready to get this race underway. It's going to be the first one of 3, as we have somebody joining us in the chat. Shara Allen. Hello, friends. Looking for some... Hang on. Looking forward for some... Nope, it's not me. Looking forward for on some exciting racing. Good luck, drivers. Ladies and gentlemen, Sharon making an appearance in the chat. And by all means, if you are here, you are present in the chat. Last time I checked, ladies and gentlemen, we are 17 subscribers short of hitting that 1,000. We could do that if everybody here subscribes. We literally have a 17-car grid. We would hit it, but don't get me wrong. Most of these people will probably already hit the magic button. No, certainly a few of them have. We'd love to see a few more, though. But certainly, as we're getting ready for the end of this pace lap, Reese, what would be your strategy here at Phillip Island?
Stay in the slipstream. That's basically it. You lose touch with the driver in front of you, you're gone. I think we're going to be seeing some real pack-style racing here in these Formula V's, with Clay Morris taking point. Coming out of the final corner here. Rolling start. Oh dear, someone's blown an engine. Someone's already blown an engine at the back of the field there. That's Stephen Sutherland. He's not going to be able to get to the start of race 1 here. That's very inconvenient. The green flag is out though, and it's too late for Sutherland as the field starts things off here at Phillip Island for round 3 of the Canadian F1200 Esports Championship. Morris will have the inside into turn 1, but there's some great momentum there on the inside from Matt Clark. He's unable to take advantage. Slight lift into turn 1 if you are running behind the pack there. Now we'll find our way to turn 2. Nice dive up the inside there from Jackson Morley. It would appear that Clay Morris is managing to hold on, but Morley gets the better run out of turn 2.
Absolutely fantastic stuff, and indeed Brandon Hawken has been pushed out into P3. If I'm hoping I'm reading this wrong, but Reese, Gerald Nimhard up 11 spots. How the hell did he manage that?
Yeah, that's a crazy run there from Gerald Nemhard. Hopefully he can keep that going there as well. It looks like Sean Helly that has run deep there at Jack Miller, and he's going to get back onto the circuit all right, but a little bit of drama there throughout the field. The front pack remaining positions 1 through to 12. Nemhard still holding on now to 5th place as Jackson Morley and Braden Otto are side by side for 3rd. Don't worry about the smoke being thrown up there. This is going to be a very tight race here at the front, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. We're going to take a look on the replay very shortly just to see exactly how Gerald managed to pull that off. Certainly, I'm definitely curious. I'd almost wonder if he jumped the start, ladies and gentlemen. But saying that, let's take a quick peek here. We've got plenty of time in this race. As I say that, look a little bit further back. I could have sworn I just saw 3 wide. Oh, dear. That went wrong. Nicholas Colander ended up getting into an incident as well. And oh my gosh, almost a little bit of a further catastrophe here. Let's find out exactly what happened there before we head on to the back of the start.
Yeah, that's a real shame there. Ryan Knight we're going to be keeping an eye on here. Colin, the car he's trying to pass there on the left-hand side, and Nicholas did the right thing. He ran wide, tried to give space to people behind. Matt Clark spinning ahead, but it would appear Ryan Knight himself ran wide into Colander, and that just caused a whole bunch of chaos. Battling for that sort of mid position in the top 10. So some drivers will be unhappy with how race 1 went. This is Gerald Nemhard's start, and it looks like he had a bit more momentum at the start of the race than everyone else did. He was flinging down the middle there towards turn 1.
Yeah, that's definitely, I've been penalised for such actions before, where it's deemed that I jumped the start. Myself, I'm not really sure how I'd call that. The way I see it, if the flag goes green, go for it, it's legit, but certainly we'd have to see exactly when it went. And another good thing about that is we are not race control, ladies and gentlemen, so certainly that's going to be a problem for the stewards. But in the meantime, though, Nicholas Glander back there in 15th place as Braden Otto has taken to the lead, and it looks like Clay Morris getting side by side here with Jackson Morley.
Yeah, this top 4 are broken away from the rest of the pack. Nemhard is leading the pack from 5th through to 8th, and it would appear that Brandon Hawken has nailed the exit of Siberia there. He's going to move up the inside of Braden Otto on the exit, but through Hayshed, this flat-out right-hander, it's really important to set up the entry to Lukey Heights. It's super easy to get the rear end stepped out on the entry to this fast uphill left-hander, but if you nail it, you can get up the inside into MG, the slowest corner on the circuit here. Nice defense from Braden Otto to keep Clay Morris behind, but Brandon Hawkins starting to pull away. The drivers behind will have to start working together. Oh my God, that was Ella Martin that went airborne.
I think that was a game of leapfrog. I don't know if that was necessarily a passing opportunity. Let's take a look here from a different point of view.
Yeah, so... Oh, dearie me. Ella Martin was getting past on the inside there, but unfortunately a bit of contact and wheels banging there. That's quite the transfer of momentum.
I gotta be honest, it was pretty fascinating. As incidents go, that was pretty cool. Fair play, but it looks like we've got another pack emerging here. Alyssa McKenzie, she's absolutely on it today, Reese. Currently got Gerald Nemhard right behind Lane Anderson in that battle as well, as is Mark Boyd. Ladies and gentlemen, that is your M-Class champion. Well, I would say champion, M-Class leader right now, and indeed, he's currently doing quite well. He's down 3 positions overall, but don't get me wrong, he is in this pack of cars. Indeed, the position now is not what's going to matter, it's what happens at the end of the race. And another observation, I just realised who we're missing. Mike Broomhead, sadly not present today.
Yeah, that's a shame. Our the man who sets up the servers for this one, BiS, coming on board with Canadian F1200 this season to assist. And oh, dearie me, very wide there out of turn 4. This is the battle for the AM top 4, basically. And Alyssa McKenzie, you're right, has done very well to put herself in that position there. She's been steadily working her way up from 11th through to 8th at the start of the last lap, and now leading this pack here. Sean Helly on the recovery may be able to catch up to them, but remains to be seen exactly how it's going to go down. If you don't have the slipstream at Phillip Island, your lap time really suffers in these cars.
Yeah, they're going to have to work together if they want to try and find their way forward. Meanwhile, Rob Wright and Keith Wilford there getting into a battle with Ryan Knight at the back of that as well. So we got a Wright and a Knight. Ladies and gentlemen, that's a tongue twister in its own right. Indeed, all 3 of them Canadian, though. Indeed, actually, the majority of this field is Canadian, with Alyssa McKenzie and Nicholas Glander, the only drivers here showing an American flag, ladies and gentlemen. As saying that, Gerald Nemhard has just managed to take the lead of from Alyssa McKenzie, with Mark Boyd currently at the front of that pack as well.
Yep, 2x2. Noah's arcing it down the start-finish straight here at Phillip Island, and it would appear that Boyd and Anderson trying their best here to make something happen. McKenzie will fall to the rear of the pack, but then get back past Gerald Nemhard there on the way into turn 1 there. McKenzie, for the record, the red car in this pack. Let's see what more she can do. Lane Anderson in the number 3 leading the way. There's contact between Boyd and McKenzie, but it ultimately works out okay. They did lose a bit of momentum.
Yeah, that can definitely get a little bit risky there. If you start banging wheels, especially if you hit a drive axle, it can get very, very, very interesting very, very quickly indeed. As you see, the pack actually starting to come together a little bit there. Sean Healy has caught up by about a second, ladies and gentlemen. So certainly them guys battling is starting to put him into play. Let's rejoin and check here at the lead battle, ladies and gentlemen, as Clay Morris currently leading that pack. But I got a feeling it's by design. Brandon Hawking sitting back and forth, I think is 100% a strategic play there by last season's champion.
Yeah. If you're at the back of the pack, you're the one with the most advantage. And if you're at the front, like Clay Morris is, you're the one punching the hole in the air for everyone else. Jackson Morley briefly pulling out there through Lukey Heights, but not going for the move at MG. I think this is going to be a formation flying strategy by the top four for the moment. We are not far away here from the halfway point of race 1. Only 8 laps per race today. It's not nothing, but it's certainly not an endurance race. You do still have to bide your time occasionally. Pulling out of the slipstream is Jackson Morley, the only one to do so, and now I think he's going to have some problems. He'll fall back to the rear of the pack if this keeps up, but interestingly, he seems to be keeping the momentum up. Clay Morris unable to get past him there, and Braden Otto and Brandon Hawken not willing to get into it.
Yeah, I 100% think that Brandon Hawken is quietly lurking, and he's got a plan. Don't get me wrong, if these guys go 3 abreast, it won't matter how good a run he's got. He's going to have nowhere to go. You see a little bit of a slide there from Braden Otto. Let's check in further back in the field here, as this pack is indeed getting spicy. Ladies and gentlemen, Gerald Nemhard, Alison McKenzie, and indeed Sean Healy now going at it. Mark Boyd has managed to get away there. You see himself and Lane Anderson now having their own little battle. Indeed, about 1.6, 1.7 seconds ahead of the P7 battle.
Yeah, looks like a bit of a loss of momentum in the 5th place pack has separated them out into 2 here as it's 3 wide on the way into the hairpin. Nemhard on the inside, and looks like McKenzie trying to hold on to it at the apex, but she goes deep on the exit, and, well, that's not the end of the world. It's going to be defensive into Lukey Heights, but Nemhard carrying more momentum into the corner, and momentum is everything in these F1200s. You know, there's not much power to work with, so speed through the corners is key.
Yeah, definitely only just held on, as I can see Eugene Cartini's had a little bit of an incident. He's managed to pick up a meatball flag, ladies and gentlemen, but I think we'll leave him to his own devices for now. We'll give him a little bit of a break, especially where he's providing a car, ladies and gentlemen. I'm definitely going to cut him a break for that, but indeed, the battles are absolutely fantastic. And look a little bit further back there, Reese, as it looks like, oh, that's one hell of a dive there. Oh, dear.
Oh, dear.
That's McKenzie.
Oh, dearie me. Oh, and a great drive comes to a brief end there for Alyssa McKenzie. MG is always one of the corners where you see the most action at Phillip Island. Lane Anderson going into the back, actually, of Mark Boyd there, and it seems that McKenzie spun on her own.
Yeah, definitely it looked like a solo error there, all happening in the same corner, but certainly Lane Anderson, that is not what he had in mind, ladies and gentlemen. But I've got to say, shout out to this guy. He's up 11 spots. I'm not 100% sure how legitimate the start was. Reese, by all means, chime in your opinion on that, but I do wish that iRacing would actually give us a graphic for, you know, as a broadcaster, for when that green flag goes. Certainly, if you were back and got a little bit of a run-up and then it went green, that could be seen as a little bit of an advantage.
But I think the... Oh, dear! Oh, a little wide on the exit of turn 2. That's really easy to do. I guess the deciding factor for Nemhard is, did he make any passes before the start-finish line? That's the main thing that I think needs to be looked at there. And, you know, we might have to see that replay again just to make sure, but we'll leave that discussion for when it's relevant again, because Nemhard is still fighting here with Keith Wilfred and Sean Haley. This is a fantastic fight for 6th place, and all this while, the battle for the lead has been going on as well. Lane Anderson with a further issue there, it appears, coming out of turn 4, and he's fallen out of touch with everybody back in 12th.
Yeah, definitely a little bit unfortunate, but I've got to say, Steve Sutherland, you definitely get my unluckiest award. I've never seen anybody blow an engine on the pace lap, ladies and gentlemen. Fair play. Nothing but love for the guy. He's a really good guy. Not only that, he's a travel nurse as well, ladies and gentlemen. So certainly give some thanks to your medical staff. But certainly it's not an easy job. And I've heard about it a little bit. And indeed, where he's a travel nurse as well, I don't think he's going to be doing care homes. I think he's going to be doing more like ER stuff as well. As I have a feeling something's happened with Sean Healy. And oh my, okay.
Yeah. Keith Wilfred ran wide on the exit of MG. Sean Healy was there too. Unfortunately, the run back onto the track there from Keith Wilfred caught Healy out, and he has reached the incident limit and gotten a black flag for his troubles from the automated stewarding system. So some drama there in the battle mid-top 10. Keith Wilfred limping back to the pits as we're on the penultimate lap of the race now. Still got to think about this battle in the top 4. Brandon Hawken has moved back to the front of the pack after lurking in 4th for a few laps. Between Clay Morris and Jackson Morley for second place, Braden Otto still chasing. Any of these drivers on screen could come away with victory, but they need to make sure they place their cars correctly. You don't want to be the one leading coming into the braking zone for MG, I feel.
Yeah, definitely. You would know a lot more about the strategy here at this track. I've driven it a couple of times, and honestly, Reese, it's not one that I've ever really managed to match. So certainly, it's not on the Princess Approved track list, ladies and gentlemen. Indeed, as we got Robbie Arthur making a pretty bold claim. He's saying Braden Otto going P1 today. This is as NASCAR as it gets, and he's as NASCAR as a Canadian can get. That's pretty funny, actually. I'll give him that, indeed. I think the biggest NASCAR a Canadian get would be Connor Bell, in my personal opinion, and he is an absolute legend. You can see him tomorrow, actually, here on Pit Road Productions. We're looking forward to seeing him back. But indeed, Brandon Hawken, he's definitely played it strategically, but I don't know if I would have made my move to the front just yet. There's still another lap to go. I got a feeling Robbie Arthur may be onto something here. Braden Otto could be with a shot here at P1.
Yeah, certainly. He's hanging back a little bit from the pack here. White flag in the air, and we'll be starting the final lap here at Phillip Island. 4.44 kilometers in length, this racetrack, and most of it is high-speed flowing action. Side by side, almost there. Jackson Morley takes the lead off Brandon Hawken, and you see the momentum that Braden Otto is carrying there in the Falcon liveried machine through the first turn of this fantastic track. Gets up the inside of Hawken into turn 2. Is he going to go for it? Is Hawken going to try and go for it? Round the outside of Jackson Morley for the lead. Fantastic racing.
Now you can see there Clay Morris looking inside and apply a little bit of pressure as well. These guys are going to be going 2 by 2, ladies and gentlemen. Indeed, it could get very, very dicey here. One little bit of contact, and Mark Boyd's going to say thank you very much. He's currently running on his own. Cleared Gerald Nemard by quite a good margin, actually, from what I can see, about 7 seconds, ladies and gentlemen. But indeed, Brandon Hawken currently at the front of the pack. Is it going to be enough? Jackson Morley, ladies and gentlemen, let me just point out, he's about 2,300 iRating, and he's going up against somebody who's more than 3 times his skill level on paper, ladies and gentlemen. Fair play to him, but indeed, Hawken currently starting to get a little bit of a gap there, 0.4 of a second. Jackson's going to have to really get a good run here and indeed be able to hold off the likes of Clay Morris and Braden Otto. I have a feeling what's going to happen here is these 3 are going to fight and just Hawken's going to be gifted the win at this point.
Yeah, they got to be careful not to trip over each other here in the final couple of corners. This is their last chance to take it from Brandon Hawken. A peek up the inside there from Jackson Morley. He gets to the apex first, but Hawken carries more momentum out of the corner, and I think that has sealed it. Brandon Hawken drives away from the rest of the top 4 pack, and Clay Morris and Jackson Morley, it will be almost a dead heat for second. Can Braden Otto get into it as well? He gets in the slipstream of Jackson Morley. They're trying to catch up to Hawken here, and it looks like Morris has gotten some slipstream off Hawken. There is some momentum being made up. It's 3 wide for second. Is this going to be enough? Where's the start-finish line? Right there. Brandon Hawken will take victory by looks like 1700ths of a second, with Braden Otto and Jackson Morley a mere 100th of a second apart. Fantastic stuff in the battle for the top 4. And Gerald Nemard finishing 7th place there, with Rob Wright grabbing 6th. Nice pack between them and Ryan Knight for P8. Alyssa McKenzie and Sean Healy, a drag race to the line. Then it's going to be McKenzie that wins that one.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to take a very, very close look at the timing you're going to see here very shortly, just how close it is. I have said it, certainly Spec Fords, a soft spot in my heart, but the Formula Vees, I'd say without a doubt, offering some of the closest racing. Indeed, the lead free, ladies and gentlemen. Let me do a bit of zippy math here. 15, 17, 32. 32 hundredths of a second between them. That's it.
Yeah. That's crazy.
That's
Incredible
nuts.
stuff.
Absolutely nuts.
That's the kind of racing you can expect at Phillip Island in Formula V's. We're still waiting on Ella Martin to come across the line after a very embattled race, but it looks like she's just exited the final corner, and we'll be able to get you your results in just a few moments. Hello again, Ella. Sorry your race did not go very well. Ending it, or almost ending it, airborne at MG. Well, race is official, and Brandon Hawken takes victory. 0.169 is the gap for the win. If Clay Morris was a little bit closer, maybe he would have been able to get it done. But that's going to be that there for the win. Otto and Morley, your top four. Mark Boyd takes the win in the AM class with Rob Wright, Gerald Nemhard, and Ryan Knight only separated by about 0.2 of a second there. Nicholas Colander and Lane Anderson round out your top 10. Then Alyssa McKenzie beats Sean Healy to the line. Matt Clark, he was up the front early on, but has to settle for 13th. Ella Martin, Keith Wilfred, and Eugene Cartini all involved in crashes, and Stephen Sutherland blew his engine before they even got to the green flag. A real shame for Stephen Sutherland. Hopefully this second race is a better run of luck for some. Brandon Hawken will start on pole by virtue of taking the win. Morris alongside with Otto and Morley rounding out your top four. Boyd and Wright on row number 3 with Gerald Nemhard, Ryan Knight, Nicholas Colander, and Lane Anderson rounding out your top 10. Mackenzie and Healy on row number 6. Then we go to Matt Clark, Ella Martin, Keith Wilfred, Eugene Cartini, and Stephen Sutherland to be your 17-car grid for race 2. This is going to be quite an important one, Zippy. We'll be keeping an eye on the battle for 10th, because that is the fight for race 3 pole.
Yeah, definitely going to be some interesting racing indeed, but I've got to say, I'm seeing a consistent pattern here. Brandon Hawken is, he's playing it strategically, and I think what's happening is these guys, I almost feel like they've given up trying to beat the guy, and don't get me wrong, there is that ballot, but second place does not get you anything. Ladies and gentlemen, you need to be the winner in your respective championship class, and don't get me wrong, if he gets too far ahead, there's no going back from that. I honestly think at this point, Morris, Otto, and Morley, they need to work together and try and topple last season's champion if they want to have a chance of getting that Formula Vee.
Yeah, the issue is Hawken is very good at putting his car in exactly the right place at exactly the right time, and the other drivers who are racing alongside him tend to pay a bit too much attention to each other. It allows Hawken to almost pull a fast one on them. I mean, we saw it at MG at the finish of race 1. Hawken was just able to carry fantastic speed through the slowest corner on the circuit. And Braden Otto, no, not Braden Otto, Jackson Morley, who was in second place. Remember, he took that really tight line into MG. He was having a little look. He was trying to unsettle Hawken. That sort of racing strategy clearly is not the way to go in Formula V at a circuit like this. It's all about maintaining momentum and staying in touch with the car in front so you get the maximum benefit of the slipstream. If you're a few Ks down at one apex, that can make a difference. Who's that tumbling over? Is that Ryan Knight?
I believe it was. It might have been Matt Clark, actually.
What? Yeah, it is. It is Matt Clark. What on earth happened there? Is that a hardware failure for Matt Clark? Or a screen failure, I think.
That's interesting. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know what to make of that.
Yep. I think these guys are just... did he get the short straw or something? We had Steve Sutherland blowing him out, Matt Clark yeeting it over the wall. Is there some kind of spoof going on that we don't know about here? But, I mean, fair play, it's your race, but one thing I am noticing here, Reese, is these drivers really need to bunch back up together here, because that grid would not get a green flag at any race series I've ever been at.
Yeah, bunch it up. Make sure that you're ready for the start here. Oh, there's more dramas at the back. There's been contact. Oh, dear. Looks like the 82 and the 96. Or 92 and 96. Hang on a minute. No, we'll have to keep our eyes peeled for that. The start is on, and they're already 3 wide. A very messy start for race 2. Brandon Hawkins going to lead the way, but who's going to come out of turn 2 unscathed? Clay Morris in the middle between Brandon Hawkins and Jackson Morley. And he's going to take point there. It looks like Sean Healy was one of the cars involved in that contact at the back of the field there, with Clay Morris now leading out of turn 2. He'll be safe for the moment, but Jackson Morley and Brandon Hawkins will continue to pressure him on their way down to turn 4.
I gotta be honest, I'm a little disappointed with the race starts we've seen here tonight, Reese, and certainly this is one of those things where you do wish you could have manual control. I sound quite aggressive on this, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm somewhat going to apologise, but realistically you should be equally spaced apart, because if you've got a bit of a distance between yourself and the car in front, start giving it some gas, you are literally going to slingshot and give yourself an advantage. And certainly, if I caught that in a replay and it was a league like this, I would be penalising you for it, and I don't think you'd be a big fan of the result, but certainly having an incident on a pace lap, there's definitely got to be some reviews done on that one, Reese, and we'll take a quick peek in a few short moments, see what happened. I mean, accidents do happen, but I'm a little disappointed at that aspect.
Yeah, I am too. It's not what we expect from a sim to reality competition like this, but the incident here at the start of the race was largely begun by Ella Martin getting into the back of Sean Healy. Healy running wide at turn 4 on lap 1. But Ella Martin went into the back of Sean Healy coming up to the green flag, and it looks like poor Alyssa McKenzie was unable to do anything about it. She just got hit in the side. Martin having her own issues there through turn 4. But yeah, that's going to round things off for the incidents for the time being. The battle for the lead is on, and it's 3 wide between Morley, Hawkins and Morris. Braden Otto, the 4th car in this one, trying to follow behind who he thinks is the best driver to follow, Mr. Brandon Hawkins.
Indeed, and I have honestly got nothing against Brandon. He is a good guy, ladies and gentlemen. Definitely a chatty one at that, but I want to see this championship stay alive, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly, if he gets too much of a lead, it's going to be the end of it in terms of the pro class, ladies and gentlemen. As Clay Morris there, that looked a little bit intentional. I have a feeling he lifted back out of that, as he's now dropped 4 places from the start and is now back in P6. That's definitely some strategy going on here. It's Mark Boyd now getting into the mix as well.
Right, we have an AM car amongst the pros, and we'll see what more can be done there. I see Stephen Sutherland and Lane Anderson falling down the order. Meanwhile, there's been some coming together with them in the area of Keith Wilfred and Alyssa McKenzie. Looks like both of them still rolling, but Stephen Sutherland with major suspension damage. It looks like he's going to be a retiree from both races thus far tonight.
Yeah, definitely a little bit unfortunate that you see him taken to the exit. Let's go a little bit further back, ladies and gentlemen, see if we can find exactly what happened. Indeed, Lane Anderson getting into an incident a bit earlier on.
Yeah, so this is coming into turn 4. Lane Anderson here with Sutherland, and is there contact in the rear? Yes, there is, and looks like Sutherland might have... oh dear, actually ended up mounting Nicholas Colander, it seems. So... yeah, 4-car incident ultimately there at turn 4. We've got Sutherland with a mechanical black flag again. Lane Anderson retiring from race number 2. But the battle is still on at the very front. Brandon Hawkins, Jackson Morley, Braden Otto and Clay Morris are your top 4 in an ever-changing order.
Yeah, certainly Nicholas Colander is indeed a daddy, but certainly on that occasion it was Steve Sutherland who he had in his arms at that point. But I'm loving all of this free wide, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly the front of the grid giving a good demonstration there of almost formation flying in the Formula Vee, ladies and gentlemen. You can see there Clay Morris still very much in contention. Rob Wright getting into the mix as well. Definitely do not discount this guy. He runs Formula V's on a regular basis, not just for the Canadian F1200 Championship.
Yeah, indeed. Keep a very close eye for the green and yellow machine. He could be a factor in all of this. It's great to see 6 cars involved in the battle for the win here. Still going to have 5 laps to go when we cross the line next. That's a bit wide there for Braden Otto. Almost gives a chance to Clay Morris, but it looks like he's going to stay behind again. It's really between Jackson Morley and Brandon Hawken at the front at the moment.
Well, one thing has just come to light, ladies and gentlemen. It looks like I hit the start on the round 4 instead of round 3, so we're going to adjust that after the show. And anybody who's currently there watching, waiting for the show to go live, I do apologize. That's actually the first time I've managed to do that. So certainly an interesting whoops, ladies and gentlemen, but certainly not the end of the world. We're glad you found your way here anyway. But indeed, right now, after we get past my own little bloopers here, you can see here that Jackson Morley currently leading the charge.
Yep, good stuff from Jackson Morley. That's very wide there across the curb for Braden Otto. Meanwhile, Mark Boyd moves past Clay Morris again. This is all a waiting game. This is very similar to what you see at Daytona and Talladega when stock cars are racing in a pack. It's all just a holding pattern, really, until the final lap begins, and then you start to see things go off. But Mark Boyd is making a charge here towards the front. He'll be side by side with Jackson Morley on the way into turn 1, and he's almost getting pushed a little by Braden Otto. So that's going to be the lead going to one of our AM class cars, the championship leader no less in that class.
Well, I'm gonna claim complete, nothing ever happened. And now this says indeed round 3, ladies and gentlemen, Phillip Island. Don't ask me what magical pixie fixed that. We'll say it was pure magic, ladies and gentlemen. We'll adjust something else a bit later. By all means, Jake, if you're there in the chat watching, let me know if I fixed it. It's Mark Boyd now trying to thread the needle in between himself, Jackson Morley, and indeed Brandon Hawken. Clay Morris in the contention as well. Right now, we have a 6-way fight for the lead, ladies and gentlemen. Can we see 4 wide here at Phillip Island?
Morley to the inside will win the race out of Miller, and Brandon Hawken was all the way on the outside, so he's going to have to filter back in as Boyd pressures the back of Jackson Morley. That's wide, though, through Siberia. It is a banked corner, so you're able to hold on to some momentum, but not quite enough to keep Brandon Hawken behind, I'm sure. Hawken's going to be following Mark Boyd very closely here. Once again, Braden Otto, he seems to be making a habit of being the car that takes the alternate line to everyone else. Battle going on back here for 7th. Alyssa McKenzie versus Keith Wilfred. Nicholas Colander right with them. This is the battle for 2nd in AM.
Yeah, definitely. He's got a little bit of a run there going. I believe it's 3rd in AM, sorry. 3rd in AM,
yes,
indeed.
Sorry, forgot about Rob Wright.
Oh, absolutely. It's all right. Oh, that'll do it. Colin's going to take that. Cha-ching.
Yeah, that is a big old freebie for the number 8 of Nicholas Colander. That was contact between Alyssa McKenzie and I believe Keith Wilfred. Actually looks like McKenzie lost the rear once again through MG. It's these cars do have quite a light rear end, and it's very easy to spin them. And MG, after a series of fast and flowing corners, you really got to reset your brain for it. So unfortunately for Alyssa, that seems to be a problem plaguing her tonight. Hopefully she works it out in race 3. But back to the lead, Clay Morris making a move towards it.
Indeed, he is, and certainly somebody who I'd love to see, or maybe we can sneak him in for the last round. I definitely want to see what on a bell be behind the wheel at one of these. I have a feeling Brandon Hawken would have somebody new to play with, ladies and gentlemen. Indeed, he's got plenty of people to play with. Indeed, Clay Morris, Jackson Morley, Braden Otto, Mark Boyd, Rob Wright as well, getting in the action before Nicholas Colander leads up the next pack, ladies and gentlemen. He's got himself, Ryan Knight and Keith Wilfred all tangling there for P7 indeed. We're going to take a quick look back actually at that. Don't get me wrong, the lead battle is important, but we don't want to give the leaders all of the attention here, as indeed it's not just them that help fund the broadcast, ladies and gentlemen. It's everybody who's in the session. Indeed, Nicholas Colander currently applying a bit of pressure there, and you can see another battle starting to emerge a little bit further behind as Matt Clark looked like he's getting into some action as well. Briefly. Yeah,
Matt Clark is catching up to the likes of Keith Wilfred and Nicholas Colander and Ryan Knight. These guys battling hard over 8th, 7th place. Ryan Knight managing to get the move done on Colander, but Keith Wilfred now will have to start looking in his mirrors. There's a lot of momentum carried into Lukey Heights for the 744, and he pitches it towards the apex, tries to unsettle Keith Wilfred, and almost succeeds.
Well, definitely some close action indeed as we return to the lead battle. Ladies and gentlemen, Clay Morris currently holding on. Brandon Hawking going alongside, though. And indeed, Jackson Morley and Braden Otto drop back a little bit there. They've got to make sure they do indeed stay at the front of this pack, ladies and gentlemen. If they start separating even just about a second, that's it. That will be the end of any chance here at the podium. They will have to work together, ladies and gentlemen. About 10 seconds now between the top 6 and P7, 8, and 9.
Jackson Morley on the outside of 3 wide into turn 1. Some brief contact with the wheels of Clay Morris. He'll get the inside for turn 2. You get on the power super early out of 2 and you can fling it. Like that little elevation change there, the downhill, it almost acts like a ramp off the end of the corner. And if you play your cards right, you can get some great momentum. Hawken carrying the most of it. He goes to the lead coming into turn 4. Will there be a response from Jackson Morley? Hawken is crazy late on the brakes and able to carry some great speed through the corners. Maybe a tiny bit of oversteer there for our race leader as Morris is now under pressure from Braden Otto for 3rd. Rob Wright sitting pretty at the back of this pack. He is once again a case of a driver just biding their time here.
Yeah, 100% think that's what's happening. Himself and Mark Boyd have said, you know what, that's not our fight. We'll hang here just in case that low-hanging fruit does happen to fall down off the tree. But between them as well, you know, they're not really under any pressure. If anything, Rob Wright needs to make sure he finds himself ahead of Mark Boyd. I'd say that would be the biggest play he's got to worry about indeed. But certainly at the top of the pack, all they can hope for is that these 4 cars get into a little bit of a collision, or indeed they're able to sneak by all of them.
Yeah, that will likely be the play as Matt Clark and Nicholas Collender now getting involved in a battle for 9th. Ahead of them, Keith Wilford and Ryan Knight continue their battle, flinging whatever they can at each other at every opportunity. And Wilfred will keep 7th place on the way out of these last corners. Cloud falling over the circuit. And this being February in Australia, actually in sim time is April in Australia, so we're solidly in autumn. Should be some milder temperatures these guys are dealing with here. 2 laps to go, a lot of grip available, and look at the momentum here. And Ryan Knight will have to give up that position to Matt Clark, so will Keith Wilfred. Clark with a great steaming momentum up the inside into the first corner.
Yeah, definitely these drivers having a lot of fun. And if I never there was going to be a race that you probably want to do in VR, I think this would be a really good one. Certainly it'd be good to turn your head and indeed really get the experience of feeling just how close these cars are alongside you. That open cockpit, as that's definitely a little bit flirtatious there with the track limits from Keith Wilford, and Collinder's going to be able to capitalize on that. But you can see the 2-car battle ahead there of Matt Knight and indeed Ryan Knight. Matt Clark and Ryan Knight starting to get away a little bit there by about half a second as we rejoin the front of the pack.
Yeah, front of the pack here. Oh my God, that's contact there for Jackson Morley, and he's sent out into the gravel trap there. Is the car damaged? It doesn't look like it. It's still straight. That's good to see, but he's lost all of that momentum. He'll no longer be a part of the lead pack.
Yeah, that is definitely unfortunate. And there you go, Rob Wright and Mark Boyd able to cash in. Ladies and gentlemen, they're going to be thinking, okay, that's 1. 3 more to go, as indeed Clay Morris, Brandon Hawken and Braden Otto all duking it out for the lead, as they're going to be very shortly starting the final lap of Heat 2.
Nice apex from Braden Otto. He turned in. Brandon Hawken was pressuring him but didn't get alongside. There was room for the number 27 to take the apex there. Interesting to see that Brandon is going for that wide line into the final corner. Just because these cars are as slow as they are, you find that they actually stick tight through the last couple of corners because it's the shorter way to get around. They don't have the speed really to take the full racing line. That is going to be the final lap there, and a slight bump draft there from Clay Morris on Brandon Hawken. Nose cone to gearbox. Let's see if it works out for him.
Yeah, definitely getting incredibly close, ladies and gentlemen. Indeed, it's all going to come down to this final lap. And you can see as well, Rob Wright has indeed dropped back a little bit, ladies and gentlemen. Himself and Mark Boyd about a second back now. I don't know if that's necessarily the wisest plan, but certainly, you know what? They're going to be dependent on these guys keep battling if they want to try and hold each other off. But Rob Wright, it's crucial that he finishes ahead of Mark Boyd. However, Brandon Hawken, we need to try and make sure, well, not us, but they need to try and kind of make sure he does not get another race win, ladies and gentlemen. I think he may still be undefeated or indeed lost 1 race his entire time here in the Canadian F1200 Championship.
Yeah, he's had a stranglehold over this series for a couple of seasons now, so let's see what he can do to hold off Clay Morris and Braden Otto. He is ahead by a couple of car lengths at a crucial juncture here. Pick up the slipstream coming out of Siberia through Hayshed. Hawken is driving alternate lines on purpose here to try and break the draft. He doesn't want Morris and Otto to get alongside him here. Otto's going to go for it on Morris, though. Picks up some slipstream from Hawken into MG then. This is where the money is made, and it's a weird line there from both of our front two. Morris unable to really take advantage until they get to the exit, but it looks like Hawken might have done just enough again. He stayed ahead at MG as the battle for second place has come to the fore. He will stick to the inside. Now let's see if the slipstream is enough for Otto or Morris to get the win at the line. There's going to be some weaving for sure. Brandon Hawken trying to keep the lead here. The run to the start-finish line beckons. They're scrubbing the tyres. They're losing some speed. It's not going to be enough for the second time. Brandon Hawken winning at Phillip Island with Otto and Morris your podium.
I gotta be honest, Reese, I'm not a fan of weaving on the straight. I generally do not agree with that. I think you get one move and that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly, again, we are not race control, but I get it. It's a competition, but certainly I'd be taking a close look at the rule book on there, because while don't get me wrong, it's a talented drive. If you're going to weave across the track, I don't know if I'm really going to give you the recognition as much as, you know, because without that, I think he'd have got past.
Yeah, he would have. Again, consultation with the rulebook is required, but that's going to stand as the result for now, with drivers making their way to the line still. Ultimately, we've only had one real retirement from this, but if anything, actually, Lane Anderson a lap down. I think he actually might have seen the checkered, so I think all of our drivers saw the checkered flag this time around, despite some time spent in the pits for Sutherland, Sean Healy, and Lane Anderson. For now, though, looks like the battling really is at the front. We'll see if anyone can stop Brandon Hawken from doing a clean sweep.
Yeah, certainly, you know, we got some interesting reviews in the chat as well. Robbie Harper, weaving is BS. Yep, I'm inclined to agree with you. And by all means, give us your opinions, ladies and gentlemen, in the chat. Certainly, I'm thinking Formula One, you get one move, and don't get me wrong, it is a little bit negative to bring this up as a broadcaster. I'm just being real with you guys, and indeed, it's not the way to do it. If you're going to win, do it honestly, ladies and gentlemen. But let's take a look here at the final results from Heat 2.
Well then, Brandon Hawken wins from Braden Otto and Clay Morris in Pro. In Am, Mark Boyd beating Rob Wright to the line. You were talking a lot, Zippy, about how important it was for Wright to finish ahead of Boyd. Ultimately, it didn't happen. They were only separated by a few hundredths of a second, though. Jackson Morley finishes in 6th, with Keith Wilfred, Ryan Knight, Matt Clark, and Nicholas Collender rounding out your top 10. Alyssa McKenzie and Eugene Cartini, last drivers within a minute of the winner, with Ella Martin, Gerald Nemhard, Stephen Sutherland, and Sean Healy coming across the line on the lead lap. Lane Anderson 1 lap down. Well, warm-up time, Zippy, and it looks like we are going to be seeing Brandon Hawken win yet another round of this championship and extending his championship lead besides. I think there needs to be a concerted push from Otto, from Morris, from Morley to really break that stranglehold.
I definitely think so. You know, if he gets too far ahead, they literally can't make a win there. They need to focus on the goal that's at hand. And certainly, while it's good, clean racing, you know, second isn't going to win it. If he gets too far ahead, that's the end of it. You know, there isn't a prize for coming second in this. There is a ballot, but then you put it all down to luck. You've got the skill, you've got the opportunity. You just need to think strategically. And certainly, you know, he's going to make himself a few enemies, not because, you know, he's not a bad guy by any means. Certainly the weaving definitely doesn't sit well with this commentator, but, you know, you put a big target on your head if you keep winning everything, and at that point, the whole population is going to want to take you down. Yet we're yet to see it happen, ladies and gentlemen. He's definitely going to be a wanted man.
Yeah, he certainly is. Reminder, of course, that the prizes this season are certainly worth racing for. A real-world test day in the Cartini Racing F1200 for our Pro and Am championships, and also 2 10-lap sessions up for grabs for for the driver who wins the ballot at the end of the season. It's a fantastic prize and certainly worth going for if you want to kickstart your career in real-world motorsports.
Indeed it is. Ladies and gentlemen, a friendly reminder as well, any interviews will be done on the PRP Discord. Eugene Cartini, that is aimed at you, sir. The interview channel that says interview on PRP Discord in the F1200 one is not going to get you where you need to go, my friend. I can appreciate the intention, but that's not going to do it for you. You need to come over to Pit Road Productions if you want to have a chat with us. Certainly, it'd be good to hear a little bit about yourself and indeed about that Formula Vee, that Formula 1200, ladies and gentlemen, and indeed the experience that is on offer. Oh dear, you can lead a horse to water, Reese, but you can't make it take a drink. Bless him. He's a good guy, but technology on this one has got the better of him, I think.
Well, in any case, 2 minutes remaining in the warm-up. It's a good opportunity to rest for the drivers. And one thing that we forgot to mention is, once again, the battle for 10th. Actually, Nicholas Colander has managed to grab that 10th place, and thus he will start on pole for race 3. This could be a great chance for Colander, as well as Matt Clark and Ryan Knight, who have been in and around that sort of back end of the top 10. But considering Brandon Hawkins' pace and the fact that he's able to play this chess game a little bit better than everyone else, it seems, I wouldn't be surprised if he's fighting for the lead by the midpoint of race 3.
Yeah, certainly, and there we go. Eugene Cartini now trying to make his way over to the PRP Discord, and it looks like they can't find the Discord link actually in there, so we're going to make sure we get that fixed as well. Clay Morris saying he's not in there as well. Clay, why not, buddy? You should be in there. We regularly look to try and bring you here in for an interview as well, but certainly Eugene, by all means, a learning experience. We'll definitely get that addressed in the aftermath. Indeed, anybody who's watching Jake Ends, potentially, if you can put a Discord link in there, please do the honors. Pit Road Productions number one fan, and indeed at times tech support, ladies and gentlemen. He does help us in the background, but we've literally got 30 seconds left to go. We'll skip the interview stage, as indeed, how are you enjoying it here at Phillip Island, Reece? Certainly it's good to be back at your home track.
Yes, well, my home track in reality is Wanneroo Raceway, but Phillip Island is the track on this schedule that is the closest geographically to me, and that's not saying much. It's a few thousand kilometers that I'd have to travel to make my way to Phillip Island, but it's a track that's very close to my heart and to the hearts of all the Australians on iRacing. This was the first Australian track added to the service way back in 2011, I believe, along with the original Ford Falcon V8 supercar. It's had a lot of history, this place, both in the real world and in the sim world, and now we'll see what history is to be made for the Canadian F1200 Esports Championship as race 3 is upon us. Starting on pole position, it will be Nicholas Colander. Matt Clark will join him alongside on the first row of the grid. It's going to be Ryan Knight and Keith Wilfred who round out your top 4. Jackson Morley, the first of our Pro Class drivers in P5 alongside Rob Wright. Mark Boyd, Clay Morris, Braden Otto and Brandon Hawken round out your top 10. From there, it's where they finished in race 2, with Alyssa McKenzie and Eugene Cartini on the 6th row of the grid. In 13th place, Ella Martin has got Gerald Nimhard alongside her, and Stephen Sutherland, Sean Healy and Lane Anderson round out the field. So let's put the tape back into the VHS and press rewind and then play again, but this time with a couple of changes. That inverted top 10 is certainly going to throw some interesting things into the mix.
It will indeed, Reece. Certainly we are getting the Pit Road Production Discord link sorted out for these guys so they can find their way in at the aftermath here of the race. So just bear with us. But in the meantime, enjoy the velvety voice here of Mr. Reece Gardner.
Yes, as I desperately try to come up with things to say that I haven't already said on the previous formation laps. Turn 1 is flat out in these cars. The straight line speed is that low. We also have to think about the run through turn 2 as well. I've noticed that there's a lot of drivers who really enjoy that outside line. There's a crest in the middle of the corner right there that the field is coming through. If you're all the way on the inside, you may lose a bit of momentum, and if you can get on the power early, induce the car into a tiny bit of a power slide, if that's even possible, then you'll get a nice run out of the turn there. And obviously turn 3 is flat out, as it's barely even a corner in these cars. It's only really worth talking about when you get into V8 supercars and cars like that really have to work their way through that fast left-hander, which for a period was named after Casey Stoner, 2007 MotoGP champion from Australia. Phillip Island, of course, known widely for hosting the Australian Motorcycle Grand Prix, also the Australian round of the World Superbike Championship since the late 1980s.
Well, indeed, we have got the Discord link sorted out, ladies and gentlemen. I would have thought that would have been in there before, but certainly, by all means, it's in there now. Ladies and gentlemen, it's got its own Discord channel, its own link, it's pinned, and I tagged everyone. Can't miss it, ladies and gentlemen. It is very much the bulletproof approach. A band-aid would have done, but instead we brought on the full med pack.
Yes, we're currently wrapped in bandages and can barely move. I think I've got a tube going up my nose as well.
Definitely did not expect that, and indeed you hide it well on the camera, Reese. But right now we are indeed getting ready for the final race of the third round, Phillip Island, before we head to Motorsport for the final one there on the 20th of February. Indeed, a lot to play for. We're gonna have to see how the Pro Class does with a bit of traffic here, but this could be a good opportunity for Jackson Morley. Should this field start to get spread out, that could really put a bit of a damper there on the likes of some of the pro drivers.
Yes, once again, the field isn't quite compressed enough there through the final corner. The drivers at the back really need to catch up and form up. The front rows will get going. Nicholas Colander with a very early start there, power down across the line, and that is the start of race 3 here at Phillip Island. And we'll see if Colander can hold on to the lead here as Ryan Knight is in his slipstream. Matt Clark stuck on the outside there with no one to draft off. Jackson Morley sees a big chance for a good points effort in the Pro Class here, starting 5th after missing out on battling for the win in race 2. But he's got a few cars to make his way around. Slight slide there from Ryan Knight, and woohoo, that's going to be interesting for sure. Matt Clark and Keith Wilfred will join Ryan 3 wide through turn 3.
What could possibly go wrong, ladies and gentlemen? Cold tyres, 3 wide, and people fighting for a real-world drive in a Formula 1200. That is exactly what they're driving right now, ladies and gentlemen. Indeed, as we've got 2 stacks of 3 wide, that what was going to get really interesting there almost ended up in chaos there. Nicholas Colander loses the lead. Indeed, Jackson Morley takes the front of the pack. Nothing he can do, but right now, look at this battle going on. Indeed, Brandon Hawkins managed to make his way up 4 positions as well. 5 positions, ladies and gentlemen. These drivers really need to try and think strategically if they want to stop him from winning the Pro Class.
Yeah, it's 5 positions up for Brandon Hawkins now as we are on board with the number 99. He'll be getting a lot of pressure from behind, but the inside for Lukey Heights beckons, and he's going to move up to 4th and then potentially to 3rd if he can get around Matt Clark in his very distinctive shark nose car. Nice run around the outside of MG, but it seems the inside of the left-hander is the best place to do it. Hawkins is now up into 3rd, and he's already pressuring Colander to get to 2nd into the final corner.
Yeah, the slipstream is indeed very, very potent here in the Formula 1200s. Indeed, the Formula Vees, ladies and gentlemen, different names, same car. But right now, you see Ellen Martin's picked up a meatball flag somewhere. We're going to have to go back and see exactly what happened there. Definitely a rough night for her. But right now, are we going to see 4? Are we going to see 5 wide? Yes! Come on! I want to see 5.
Lord.
Get one more in there. Close. Close, ladies and gentlemen. Indeed, Brandon Hawkins choosing to go for space rather than position on that, as this could end in chaos. That's Jackson Morley on his left. Morley there almost touching, and Colander able to hold on. This is an absolute grudge match, and I think Brandon Hawkins choosing, I don't want to be that, as Morley goes around. Oh dear.
Hawkins off 2. Looks like Keith Wilfred jumping off the track as well. Oh, that's big drama through turn 2. That's put Hawken all the way back outside the top 10, and I think that might be the chance that Clay Morris and Braden Otto need to get a leg up on the championship leader.
Well, all they got to do now is basically stick together and just try and run away with the field. Certainly, the battle is not over. All the way down to P7, ladies and gentlemen. You can see there, that's where the pack splits, and it's about a 3-second gap there back to the likes of Matt Clark. He's currently there running in P8, ladies and gentlemen. This could be absolutely monumental in the championship standings. Right now, I've got to say, the AM class pretty much dominating the field. Albeit there is more of them. There's only 4 pros in this series right now, ladies and gentlemen. But it's going to be incredibly interesting here as Jackson Morley and Brandon Hawken very much, and not only that, they're fighting back in P9. This is not how they're going to find their way at the front. And Steve Sutherland, if he continues with the luck he had, he may indeed be able to take both of them out.
Yeah, let's see what happens. See what goes on here with 6 laps still left to run. Oh, have a look at that. Brandon Hawken in the green and white machine, second in the queue. Trying to line something up on Matt Clark, but he's getting harassed by Jackson Morley. I can't remember if there was contact or if it was a solo error from Jackson, but this is the situation that they've been put in now, and Matt Clark will have to yield as Morley and also Sutherland are going to go for it here down the start-finish straight. Sutherland sticking behind Hawken, lifting off. That's going to bring Gerald Nemhard into this as well. A 5-way fight for P8 as the front of the field has certainly shown no signs of slowing down either. Rob Wright latching onto the back of this one. Nicholas Colander trying to stay in the top 3 here. Yeah, it's going to be Alyssa McKenzie who goes to the lead of the race here coming through the opening turns. This is a fantastic fight.
Well, not only that, she's up 10 positions. Absolutely belter of a move there. Can she keep it up, though? Certainly 5 laps to go. That is a lot of pressure and a lot of talent surrounding her. She's got 3 BiS veterans right behind. Oh, I say right behind. They're going alongside, ladies and gentlemen. Clay Morris looking to put a nose up on the inside. Runs a little bit wide. Clay Morris there on the inside. And right now, Braden Otto finds his way back into P2. Nicholas Colander, though, able to find his way into 3rd. And Alyssa McKenzie in one corner sadly drops from the lead and moves back into P5. But it's not over yet. Certainly got the hang of that rotation there. Got caught out a couple of times, but looks like she's got it sorted, and she's now fighting for a win here in the Formula 1200.
Did run wide out of the Jack Miller hairpin, but she's still in the box seat to take great advantage here. Mark Boyd and Nicholas Colander side by side ahead. They'll need to sort that battle out if they want to stay in touch with Clay Morris and Braden Otto. Slight loss of momentum there from Mark Boyd. Here comes Mackenzie around the outside. No, she's going to back out a little bit there. Runs wide again. That gives half a chance to Ryan Knight and Rob Wright. This is going to be a very interesting fight towards the end.
Indeed, and they've got to make sure, again, it doesn't matter who's at the front, ladies and gentlemen, you've got to make sure you work together, stay in the pack. You've got to time your passes. That is a beautiful part about racing these cars. It is not an all-out grudge fight. There is so much strategy involved. And look at the space being left, ladies and gentlemen. Clay Morris and Braden Otto, the elbows could be out, the arms could be out, indeed the legs could be out, ladies and gentlemen. They are not even close to touching. That could be interesting. Will Colander be able to find his way down the middle, ladies and gentlemen, as it looks like he's getting a bit of pressure here. Indeed, as Steve Sutherland, no, Mark Boyd there makes his way up into P2.
Yeah, good job there from Boyd. He's AM championship leader for a reason, as there's contact further back there. Yep,
Whoa.
Ryan Knight. Oh, and Rob Wright gets involved. Both cars go airborne. There's more drama that's arrived on the scene there. Gerald Nemhard and Stephen Sutherland coming together, and Brandon Hawken was somehow involved in that too. 5 mechanical black flags out on circuit right now. What on earth happened to start this?
So I'm looking, there goes Ryan Knight. He gets a bit of spin. Rob Wright absolutely yeets into, I'm sorry. And then it looks like it may be a little bit of avoidance. Brandon Hawken able to keep going. Wow, guys. That was incredible.
I think we need to look at that replay again from Hawken's perspective.
There you go.
There was 3 wide ahead of him. And the contact obviously happened ahead of Brandon. He didn't have anything to do with this. Oh, it was Nemhard spinning. There was nothing Hawken could do to avoid that.
No, but I gotta admit, as incidents go, guys, that was a beauty. I'm proud and sympathetic for you, because that was, I mean...
Hawken's got a mechanical black flag.
Well, I'm not surprised, Reese. He just absolutely muddled the car.
I know, but it's really big for the championship potentially. Hawkins going to have to bring that car in for repairs potentially, otherwise he might get penalized by the automated system.
I gotta admit, this could be a good acronym, but I have a feeling UFC just meant Formula Vee.
I think it did. Goodness me.
Ding, ding, ding.
Ryan Knight. Yeah, that was an absolute brawl, and probably have to call a medic out of that. Well, now it is a four-way battle for the lead between Braden Otto, Nicholas Colander, Clay Morris, and Mark Boyd. It's 2 pros and 2 AMs duking it out for the top 4.
Well, I gotta say, despite the absolute calamity that we just got to experience, which I'm sorry, it definitely was unfortunate for the drivers, but oh my gosh, it was a beautiful, beautiful display of gymnastics from the commentary booth. As we got a flasher there. I think that might have been Mark Boyd, but that has got to be. I don't know if we've ever had more meatball flags in one incident. That we must have had 6 out of that.
Yeah, quite the coming together. There was almost another one just then there as Mark Boyd nearly got into the back of Clay Morris. Boyd, I think, will be playing this one as calmly as he dares. He does have to worry about Clay Morris being a thorn in his side here in the fight with Nicholas Colander for the AM class win in this race.
Yeah, definitely. And indeed, Mark Boyd, his nearest competition, Nicholas Colander. I would love to see Nicholas get a podium win. That, I don't think he's done it yet. He's done well. We've never seen him be quite as potent, and certainly in the Formula Vee, he's really taken to it, ladies and gentlemen. He usually drives a Radical, if not a 1600, but the V, it's where he should have been the entire time, ladies and gentlemen. He's definitely had some good luck with that car, and indeed, it's much more catered to his driving style, I'd say. Indeed, I mean, look at the results. He's currently fighting for a P2 overall, and he's leading his class. That is a different standard of driving we're seeing here from the number 8.
Yeah, it certainly is. Colander seems to be really strong in these low-power, zero-downforce open wheelers. Don't forget he competes in the BiS F1200 championship as well, and he's gotten some great results in that too, as has managed to get himself into pole position more than once due to grid inverts. Side by side for the lead, Colander and Otto will be trading places for that for a while, I'm sure. Now it's up to Clay Morris and Mark Boyd to catch up. 3 laps to go.
Indeed, it looks like we've got a battle further back as well. Sean Healy going at it here with Keith Wilford, the 48 versus the 96. Now, these guys have definitely had some incidents together tonight. Certainly, it has indeed been colourful, and not in the way of not in the way of the Blues Brothers. Indeed, those guys tolerate each other, and there's definitely some love there. But certainly between these two, I have a feeling it's not quite the same kind of vibe. Maybe a little bit of Montague and Capulet here going on, as it looks like Lane Anderson's going to be at the front of this pack as well.
Yep, good fight. Lane Anderson, currently the hardest charger in the field, up 11 spots. Excellent job from him, but Keith Wilfred is going to try and change that here. Gets up the inside into Miller, and there's plenty of room left on entry there from Lane Anderson. He's playing this one safe, which is good to see. He's already had dramas tonight. He wants to avoid any further.
Well, one thing I am seeing, you see that blue thing there on the bottom? I have a feeling that is a engine diaper, Reese. By all means, don't quote me on it, but that's pretty good detail there from an engine diaper. Basically, should you lose your fluids and something explode, it's there to catch all the debris.
Nice. Zippy, of course, is a mechanic by trade. I love the racing of cars, but my technical knowledge is left wanting at times.
Well, that's you and me both, Reece. Certainly, I'm a certified mechanic, but there leaves a lot to be desired. Certainly, the confidence probably being the biggest thing that needs improvement indeed. But right now, Braden Otto currently trying to apply a good bit of pressure there. He's up 7 spots. Not quite the hard charger. Indeed, I'd say the 3rd hard charger, ladies and gentlemen. That actually, well, now he's just, it's now 3rd high charger. Obviously, Lane Anderson up 10, Sean Healy up 8, ladies and gentlemen. But certainly, he's applying a good amount of pressure there, and we know he's got the capacity and indeed the talent to win one of these races. But is he going to be able to get away with it? Certainly, Nicholas Colander applying a good amount of pressure there. Clay Morris, though, dropping back a little bit there with Mark Boyd. They're about 7 temps back. These guys keep fighting. They may indeed lose the draft.
Yeah, they need to get in line and try and mount an attack. You know, it's going to be a difference of you know, a better line through one corner essentially is what's going to make the difference here. You know, I've raced Formula Vee plenty. I've taken part in a couple of leagues, and that's what I really found is you have to be right on your A game for every single corner that is more than just a tap of the brakes or so. Up the inside for Braden Otto. He'll get back ahead of Nicholas Colander, but he's run a bit wide there on the exit of the hairpin. Colander will get the more direct line and more momentum on the way out. And Clay Morris flinging it into Siberia to try and stay in touch. It's time for the slipstream to kick in again through Hayshed.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think. You know, we watched a beautiful GR86 in the 911 Cup car race yesterday, the multi-class. Incredibly interesting. I do wonder what would happen if you put Formula Vee in a multi-class with something like a spec racer Ford, because the V's, you go 2, 3, 4 wide. How would that work out having another car that also likes to go 2, 3, 4 wide? I would definitely be down to see that, especially in an endurance format where every team had to have one of each. You could have one V, one spec racer Ford. In the chat, let us know what you think of that. Certainly Pit Road Productions planning to put on a few special events of our own.
Yes, that would be very interesting indeed. Colander, meanwhile, picks up a tiny bit of draft there from Braden Otto, but maybe a bit too early. You could see that Nicholas actually moved out of the slipstream for a second there. He wanted to make the move here on the start-finish straight. White flag is out. 1 lap to go in the final race of the evening here, round 3 of the Canadian F1200 Esports Championship by BiS Sim Leagues, presented by Cartini Racing. Clay Morris is hanging back again, and you know what? I think he's positioned his car perfectly, Zippy.
Yeah, if you had the jaws beam handy, certainly I would be putting it on right now if we could get away with it, ladies and gentlemen. I have a feeling there's going to be some strategy at play. We're not one to have favourites here, ladies and gentlemen, but don't get me wrong, very happy. I've been very grateful that Mark Boyd actually took me under the Auto Eclectic wing for a season of BiS Radical Championship, and certainly, BiS Radical Canada Cup, Radical Cup Canada. RCC, let's go with that, ladies and gentlemen. Indeed, there may be a little bit of dyslexia at times, or indeed a little bit of old man memory, but certainly he's a good guy. But I would love to see Nicholas Colander able to get his first outright win here in the BiS Sim League.
Yeah, it looks like Mark Boyd's going to be a hurdle in the way of that as he goes up the inside into Siberia. Colander taking all the momentum around the outside that he can, but that's just opened up the opportunity to Clay Morris, and Braden Otto is starting to skip away. This is almost exactly what Brandon Hawken did in the previous 2 races. The leader gets away while the battle for second overall trips over each other. Is this going to be enough for Braden Otto, or will there be a response from Colander, Boyd and Morris? Down to MG then. Colander will keep second place, but he's a little bit wide of the apex. Mark Boyd spins the AM Championship leader with dramas on the final lap. Alyssa McKenzie will get back into 4th. Now it's between Braden Otto and Nicholas Colander, and it looks to me like Colander, he is in the slipstream, but I don't think he's close enough to get past before the line. The Falcon liveried number 27 is going to lead down the start-finish straight here. No need to weave to try and break the draft. He knows he's got it. Braden Otto wins race 3 at Phillip Island. Nicholas Colander takes the AM class win and finishes a beautiful second place.
Yeah, attaboy, Nicholas. Definitely, he's worked so hard to get that. Indeed, it looks like we've got a battle happening. Whoop! Side by side, Keith Wilford and Sean Healy. Certainly, these guys, definitely no love lost between them. Keith Wilford will be able to take the honours there. 100th of a second between them at the line. It looks like Jackson Morley as well. Not getting the better of Brandon Hawken on this occasion, but that's got to be the harshest result there for Brandon Hawken. But despite that, finishes the same place he started, ladies and gentlemen. He still managed to pull that off.
He did indeed. That's obviously not worked out as well as Hawken would have liked. He won't do a clean sweep of this round, but regardless, still a fair amount of points in hand, and he should still be able to protect his championship lead going into the final round at Motorsport in 2 weeks' time. It's going to be an interesting final round for sure. Stephen Sutherland sliding his way down the straight there. It was a really tough night for Stephen. Didn't even make the start of the first race and had troubles in race 2. Gradually, in the end, he did manage to finish 1 position up from his original race 1 qualifying position.
Yeah, certainly Stephen Sutherland. I've had the pleasure of talking to him a little bit as well. Honestly, he's a really good guy. I'm disappointed that he had a rough night, honestly, and certainly he'll look back and maybe, I have a feeling it's going to be a facepalm moment from race one. I have a feeling he used the H pattern shift and indeed, instead of getting third, maybe got first, and that would indeed explain the kaboom sensation that was the detonation of his Formula Vee engine. Indeed, better to do it in a sim than indeed the real car. As we see Clay Morris now bringing it down pit lane, ladies and gentlemen. I've got to say, a hard-fought battle indeed, but what a result, ladies and gentlemen. What a result. Some fantastic racing here this evening. We've been pretty spoiled this week, Reese.
Yeah, no shortage of action in all the series we cover here on Pit Road Productions. Well, Braden Otto will take the win here in race 3 at Phillip Island. Nicholas Colander winning the AM class and Clay Morris rounding out the overall podium. Fantastic drive from Alyssa McKenzie. She was in contention for the lead at one point and managed to work her way back to 4th by the end. A great round for the number 82. Mark Boyd rounding out your top 5 after spinning on the final lap. Keith Wilfred and Sean Healy will finished 6th and 7th ahead of Lane Anderson, Matt Clark, and championship leader Brandon Hawken in the pro class. 10th place for him. Jackson Morley finishes in 11th in the end. A shame that the race did not go well for him. Eugene Cartini finishes where he started in 12th ahead of Stephen Sutherland. Rob Wright, Ella Martin, the last finishers on the lead lap. Ryan Knight and Gerald Nemhard both retiring from the final stanza of this song that is the third round of the Canadian F1200 Esports Championship, and it looks like we have drivers ready for interviews. We are going to talk to Braden Otto first. Man, Braden, it was a really tough one out there. Podium in all 3 races, though, and finally managing to grab the win there in race 3. You must be happy with how things went.
Yeah, very happy. Can't complain about that.
Absolutely. The slipstream was key here at Phillip Island. Most of the corners flat out in these cars, or at least a lift. There was a bit of NASCAR-style strategy you had to employ there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I kind of figured you'd want to be at the back of the draft train and get the big run on the straight, but the draft dodge was pretty powerful. I think you wanted to be leading coming out onto the straight, and yeah, kind of got lucky with some backed up traffic there on the last lap, fighting for seconds. So.
Fantastic job, though. It's going to be difficult to overcome Brandon Hawken with the points advantage that he still maintains, but you still have 1 round to go at Motorsport, 3 more races, 3 more opportunities to try and close that championship gap up. I think it's going to be a similar race to Phillip Island, in fact. Do you think the same?
Yeah, that back straight is mighty long, so it's going to be a lot of that, but a lot of sweeping corners, so it'll be a little different, but yeah, we'll see what we can do.
We can indeed. Well, thank you very much for joining us, Braden. We appreciate you coming in for a chat, and hopefully we'll be talking to you again after the final round in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah, cheers, guys. Thanks.
Braden Otto there, taking victory in the final race of the day. Zippy, who have you got for us?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I have the honor to welcome Nicholas Colander to the interview booth. Nick, we've seen you no end of times here on Pit Road Productions and indeed in the BIS Sim Leagues, but I've got to say that is, from my memory, the first time we've seen you take a class win and almost able to take an outright win. We've been cheering for you. We've been giving you some support here, and certainly the Formula 1200s has definitely been much more your driving style, and indeed you've been able to capitalize on that. Tell us a little bit about how you're feeling right now, having just got an AM class win.
Honestly, I'm on like 3 all-nighters for work, but I closed a big deal with a client in Japan, so big W there. I'm on fumes. I'm just kind of floating around. First two races I got taken out. I think I just drove kind of angry 3rd race and just tried to have fun. Clay helped me out a lot with some draft, but it's just good times, man. Friday night unwinding. Appreciate you guys.
Well, very good to hear that you managed to close that deal as well. Definitely myself, I get a buzz out of making a sale. That makes me happy. I just need to find more things I can sell. Certainly, no, I'm not going to say that. There's a joke there. You put the bits together, ladies and gentlemen. But put it this way, I'd be a very poor man if I did that. But Nicholas, definitely, I'm damn proud of you. Tell us a little bit about what it's like, certainly driving the Formula 1200. What is it about this car that you've really found has you've got on so well with? I mean, we're seeing the results here, Nick, and tell us a little bit from your point of view how you're being able to achieve this.
I honestly think that racing is 80% mental, and I'm in a place now, like my son's a little older, I'm a little more stable at work, so I really think you can have dark things creep into your mind running laps. And then just in terms of my racecraft, I've always been a very consistent driver. I'm not fast at all. And for whatever reason, like I'm quick in this car, I don't know, or I manage the car well in situations. I don't have an answer for you, but I think more so it's not just the car. In general, my racing has really gotten better lately, and it feels good. It feels good to have the time to put into it, and it feels good to see the results. The last 5 years have been tough, just kind of poking in and out with my kiddo, but I can see a pretty substantial iRating improvement coming in the next year. But that's a good question though, Tim. And before I go, I just want to say thanks for what you guys do for us. It's always a pleasure hopping on, and I love this 1200 league. Good group of people.
Well, certainly it is an absolute pleasure to get you in. But Nicholas, I already know one person you're going to shout out, but now's your time. You've made it here to the winner's enclosure. Let's see exactly who you'd like to thank for tonight's performance.
Just thank my wife, my partner, you know what I mean? She's my best friend. Thank my little kiddo, let me do things that I enjoy. And Russ Racing, the crew, those guys are super quick, and they've always just helped me out when I needed it, whether it's setups or just some advice. And then you guys, looking back, we've been doing this shit. Sorry, pardon my language. We've been doing this. We've been doing this stuff. We've been doing this for years now, So, just shout out to you and Reese. What you guys do is special, and it's always cool to hop on and have some fun.
Well, definitely, Nicholas, you just managed to make me smile. Not just because I'm proud to see you're having such success. You've definitely worked hard for it. I'm glad to hear that the family's doing well, that work's going well, and indeed, I'm glad to see that your racing is going well. But ladies and gentlemen, this man, he's been in for the long haul, and it's fair to say he's paid up. Look at that. We just see him dodging that complete incident. Attaboy. Nicholas Clander, ladies and gentlemen, driver of the number 8, and indeed representing Russ Racing here in the BiS Canadian Formula 1200 Championship, sponsored by BiS and indeed Cartini Racing.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Nick. Fantastic job tonight. And finally, it appears we have Brandon Hawken here with us as well. Altogether, Brandon, I guess, still quite a successful round, but race 3 in particular, a rare blip on your form. Can you describe here just how that incident happened, and honestly, the trouble that you had also later on too? Quite a difficult set of events for you.
Yeah, first 2 races went really well, but third one that was a tough one. Kind of just vibing, got up to the lead group there, and then we were I was just like they ended up we ended up 4 wide there down the straightaway, so I was like, I'm just gonna get back out of this. And then once we got into it, I think turn 2, there was a spin like directly in front of me. I think Jackson, I'm not sure if he got hit or just spun, but so I just saw him like 90 degrees sideways in front of me, and I really wanted to move to the inside, but there were so many cars coming. I just thought, I'm just gonna like try and stay put here. Made just a little bit of contact, but and then once we both got rolling again, we were making some good ground on the lead pack because they were still battling, and then we had a couple other cars too in the mix with us, and I think if we all were able to stay organized, I think it would have ended up all right, but just I had like myself or Jackson in the lead, but we were all ended up being like three wide at certain points, and then entering two again. There was I'm not sure if there was some front to rear contact there, but it just shot the car just ahead of me around from the car ahead, and I had nowhere to go. So I came back into the pits, got a fast repair, and just hoping there'd be some more calamity. But overall still a really good night. I think I guess I'll have to be using to drop my race 3. But that was a lot of fun still, and great win to Nicholas, and Braden, and great run from Nicholas as well. And I had a lot of fun battling the lead pack, and I guess one thing I just want to clear the air of. I guess with the weaving, I've seen and heard a couple things. In my opinion, I haven't I'm just doing what I have to like if I'm in the lead, you know, you're pretty much a sitting duck with the cars behind with how much draft there is. So like as the leader, that's basically the only thing you can do is manipulate the draft behind you, and hopefully the cars behind you as well when they try to get a sniff of your draft. And but yeah, I'm not blocking or anything, not doing anything like that. So not in the rules. So I don't know. I think I'm being completely clean about it.
Fair enough.
But yeah, no, it's been a lot of fun. Yeah, the first two races especially, just trying to it's like a puzzle pretty much, just trying to like you get put in a situation, you're like, okay, what can I do here to keep the lead and everything, and it's a lot of fun. So yeah, I had an absolute blast again racing with all these guys and girls, and it's really good night. So yeah, looking forward to Motorsport's the end already almost. So man,
yeah, it is one more round to go, and that's going to be your chance to take the championship, Brandon. You're in the lead by a solid margin still, but I think that's going to be the end of proceedings for today. A big thanks for joining us, Brandon. We appreciate you coming in for a chat, and appreciate clearing the air on the blocking as well. It is obviously something that we're going to have to figure out here with the race administration, but yeah, regardless, still a great performance tonight, and that's going to be the end of things. So thank you very much for joining us. We appreciate it. And that's going to be the end of proceedings for us here as well, Zippy. I really appreciate the show here today, as I'm sure all of the people in our YouTube chat have as well. Another interesting round of the championship, but we've still got one more to go, as Brandon said.
Yeah, definitely got one more to go, and not only that, it's the BiS home track, ladies and gentlemen. It's Motorsport, certainly. I've been doing a couple of shout-outs for this as well. Victoria Day weekend is Speedfest, Ireland, to understand that's the name of the event, and there is going to be multiple series running that weekend. There's going to be NASCAR Canada, Radical Cup Canada, there's going to be the Super Production Challenge, and there's one more. Formula 1600 is going to be there as well. Ladies and gentlemen, I have the pleasure of knowing somebody in every one of those series, and indeed, I plan on being there. So don't get me wrong, if you'd like to see me for a good thing, ladies and gentlemen, don't get me wrong, there's probably a few people who'd like to give me a slap. Join the club, ladies and gentlemen. But certainly, if you're looking for something a little bit warmer and fuzzier, and indeed would like to hang out, I am going to be there that weekend. I'm looking to try and get that thing planned out, and I would love to meet as many of you as I possibly can. Certainly, Reese, we'd love to get you over at some point. It would be an absolute honor to certainly see Pit Road Productions' finest indeed there. And I don't mean me, ladies and gentlemen, I mean Reese Gardner. Certainly the plane fare from Australia is definitely a little bit on the harder side to swallow. But I got to say, Reese, an absolute belter of a round. Certainly there were highs, there were lows. There was definitely some vertical takeoff for a few of these cars as well. But the championship just gets even hotter. And certainly I'm looking forward to seeing how the points work out for the final round.
Yeah, we'll be going through them at the top of the show in 2 weeks' time at Motorsport. The final round of the championship. Can Brandon Hawken take it? Can Mark Boyd hold on to his AM championship lead as well? And who's going to win the ballot ultimately for the consolation prize? We'll have to wait and see on that one. A huge thanks once again to Cartini Racing for putting together this sim to reality opportunity and providing the real life test car, and to the crew at BiS Sim Leagues for coming on and helping with the organization of the series as well. Huge thanks to everyone in the YouTube chat as well for keeping us company. My name's Reese Gardner, Daniel Zippy Salmon alongside me in the commentary box and producing behind the scenes here on Pit Road Productions. The Canadian F1200 Esports Championship will come to a close in a fortnight. Let's see how it all goes.